In this video, we'll talk about 20 actions you should take in your first year so that at the end of your PhD, you would have produced important research in good time while having fun along the way. This is the video I wish I saw 2 years ago when I started my PhD. Let's go. Number 1, find the important problems. If you're like me, then you'd have wondered why some people's PhD dissertation are recognized and others are not. Recently, I watched a lecture by Dr. Richard Hamming titled You and Your Research, and he asked the question that I've adopted as my research guide. If what you're doing is not important, and if you don't think it is going to lead to something important, why are you working on it? I believe that in every field, there are several potential research directions we can take, but if we choose to find the important problems and work on a part of it, at the end of the day, our research will be valuable. I encourage every PhD student to read or watch Dr. Hamming's lecture. It's online. So where do you find important problems? First, you can ask your faculty. Then you can check online from industry experts. And another very good way to check is invest time in literature reviews. There's no research without studying what has been done before. Your paper won't be accepted for publication if someone else has done the same work. So you need to develop the habit of reading a lot of research papers, and that's what we call literature review. Prior to my PhD, I'd only read like 3 papers for my master's thesis, but in my first year alone of this program, I've read like 20. And some people even read more than that. So even if it's not something you're used to, you can train that muscle with time and consistency. To find important problems, look for research papers with a lot of citations and take note of their topics. While doing all this reading, you come across a lot of interesting things that you want to keep. That's why you need to have a second brain. Productivity expert David Allen said, "The mind is for having ideas, not holding them." All the interesting ideas you come across in your classes, literature reviews, conversation with friends, online, you need to capture them. And the best place to do this is your second brain. Second brain is a word that was made popular by Tiago Forte, and it's like a knowledge house, more like a study notebook, your personal journal, and a sketchbook for new ideas all in one place. There are several apps you can use for this. I was initially using Evernote, but last year I switched to Apple Notes. Now that you have your ideas organized, how do you organize your commitments? Have a time management system. When I initially started my PhD, I reached out to a friend in Ohio for encouragement. And she told me, "Welcome to the PhD, Nzube, and I'm certain you will make it. It's not tough. It's a time challenge." Every PhD student that I know complains about time because there's so much to do but little time to do it. So that's why you need a good time management system. At the heart of time management, there are only 3 things you need: a calendar, a task manager, and a daily planner. That's all. Keep all your events and meetings on your calendar. Apple Calendar, Google Calendar, anyone works here. Then keep all other commitments and deadlines on your task manager. I used to do it and I love the app so much. It makes my life very easy. Then finally, plan every hour of your weekday, including 2 a.m. Yes, you put sleep there, but that's a plan. I usually plan on the night before or that morning, and I do mine on Notion. When planning out your time, you need to make plans for life outside work. Getting a PhD would make demands on your mind and your body. You have to make appropriate plans for both. You need to have a self-care routine, and it has 5 parts. Connect, move, relax, eat, and sleep. Speak to people you love and care about. Have an exercise routine. I go to the gym 3 times every week, and I found that it's a very good way to recharge and step away from work. How best do you relax? Do you take power naps, like 20 to 30 minutes? Read a book, or you write, or you just rest? This isn't a health class, but you want to take healthier meals and less processed foods. Give your body the sleep that it requires. I experimented with this to find out that I perform optimally with only 6 hours of sleep. I know some people that need 8. It's different things for different people. So you need to also do the experiment to find out what works for you. With your self-care in place, you need to find your best work style. You'll be doing research for at least 3 years, so you want to do it in the best way that you will enjoy. So you can ask yourself, do I prefer working alone or in groups? Do I prefer working in little time chunks, like 25 minutes, or in long stretches like 4 hours? Do I prefer working at home or in school, that's whether in your office or the library? And do I prefer the place completely quiet or with white noise? You have to experiment to see which you prefer. After all my experiments, I currently love working alone in several 25 minutes Pomodoro sessions in my room while listening to rain sounds. 7. Back up your work to the cloud. In 2016, when I was working on my research project for my bachelor's degree, I was in Nigeria at the time, and 3 weeks before my project defense, my laptop was stolen. I'm very grateful to God that my supervisor had mandated me to always send my work to him through email, and that's the only way I was able to recover my work. If not, I would have started again, and just having 3 weeks would have been a horrible experience. Ever since then, I always save my work to the cloud. Every student in my school has a OneDrive account, and there should also be something like that for you if you are schooling in the US. I keep all my school files there, notes, assignments, projects, they are all there. These habits will ensure that your work is always safe no matter what happens. Number 8, set up your office. Apart from how you work, you also need to look at where you work. You can set up your home and office workspace to always get you into the work mode whenever you are there. My program doesn't give individual offices to its PhD students, but instead we all have a common space. But I set up my home office to have a monitor, 2 artificial plants, a pen stand, a lamp, a laptop stand, my water bottle, and most importantly, index cards, which I use to write out ideas I don't want to store digitally. If you liked my setup and the tips you've gotten so far, then you should also hit the like button so the YouTube algorithm is aware. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to see more videos that help you thrive in your PhD program and the US. Number 9, find your best advisor-student fit. Just like in marriage, where you either have a good or bad fit, the same thing applies with you and your dissertation advisor. If you're in a program where you have to choose your advisor before coming in, then this doesn't apply to you. My program wasn't like that. Everyone came in without an advisor, and then we had to find someone during the course of the program. So I had to first check all the faculty that could be dissertation advisors, then I checked their area of research interest to know if it's something I'm interested in. I also asked older students being advised by these professors what their experience was like what's the work culture, what's the meeting schedule, how often do they meet, those kind of things. Now, it's important to know that you might not commit to one advisor in your first year, but it's good to have some options. Number 10, have a graduation plan. One shock I had when I started my PhD is that coursework is not very important. Now, you can have 100% in your coursework, but without your dissertation, it doesn't really matter. I realized that the dissertation is the main thing, and then the coursework gives you skills to help you do the dissertation. So with this information, you need to find out how many credit hours your program requires for graduation, and then make a sketch plan of what you intend to do year 1, year 2, year 3, and so forth, and then show that plan to your program coordinator and get their feedback. With that, you can now make course correction so that you can actually graduate on time. You can also ask students ahead of you in the program to know what courses that they've taken. My program, for example, requires 78 credit hours for graduation, 24 hours of core courses, 21 hours of electives, and then 33 hours of research. You have to find out what your program requires. Number 11, catch up on your weak areas. I'm doing a PhD in data science, and data science is majorly made up of 3 parts: mathematics, computer science, and statistics. So let me tell you my story. I had a bachelor's in mathematics, a master's in applied statistics. So naturally, I knew that I needed to brush up my computer science skills, and so that led me to pick electives in the area of computer science. Yours might not be this clear, but you can use it as a guide when picking your elective courses. Don't just go for courses that are easy to pass, but courses that will give you the skills that you actually need. Another thing that can guide you when choosing elective courses is when you decide on your career path. Everyone that gets a PhD must not stay in academia, and that's fine. I love to teach, as you can see from my videos, but after my PhD, I don't plan to stay in academia. You need to decide which path it is for you: academia or industry. If you decide to stay in academia, then you need to make sure that you get teaching experience during your PhD. 13, develop other career skills. During your PhD journey, there are more soft skills you can learn that can impact your career, like research skills, presentation skills, leadership, public speaking, writing, personal organization, and even scientific communication. You need to be aware of these soft skills and ensure you pursue opportunities to develop them during your program. 14, find your interest. Paul Graham, the co-founder of Y Combinator, said interest will drive you to work harder than mere diligence ever could. One trait that every human being is born with is curiosity. So you need to find problems and topics that you are interested in. You can find your interest through your classes and by doing projects. And it's okay to have multiple interests. Your dissertation will be a long and uncertain journey because that's just what research means. So it has to be a topic that you are really interested in so that you can can see through till the end. Attend departmental seminars and lab meetings. My program has a weekly meeting every Wednesday where students and faculty meet to share their research. I found out personally that seminars and lab meetings are a very good way to get research ideas. Attending these meetings can also help you identify the main conferences and journals. Remember we spoke earlier on focusing on important problems. Yes, you also want to publish in important places. There are majorly two places where you can publish your research: journals and conferences. If all your papers can be in the main conferences and journals, then that's great, but at least you should have one of them there. Number 17, socialize with other students. We've mentioned earlier in this video several things you can learn from older students, but one of the helpful things I've found is that you can also share your struggles with them and get comforted because they've most likely experienced the same things too. Number 18, get on LinkedIn. Relationships run the world, and LinkedIn is the best social media platform to develop professional relationships. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, then you should definitely set one up. It's completely free. You can share your progress and your wins as well. And you don't know if the extra funding or relationship contacts you need will come because of one of your posts. 19, develop a budget. Most PhD programs in the US are funded, and so you get a fixed amount every month. This amount most likely won't change, so it's wise to work with a budget. When writing out the budget, you might realize that your income is not enough, and so you need to get extra sources of income or reduce your expenses. But you won't know all of this if you don't have a budget. And 20, enjoy your PhD. Yes, it can be tough, and there are days that you wish you had a normal job. You are not alone. I felt that way too. But a PhD is full of wonderful experiences, and you have the opportunity to work on whatever you're interested in, which you can't find in a normal job. So celebrate your wins and enjoy the journey. To help you take control of your finances by developing a great monthly budget, here's a video where I was transparent about every dollar I spend in a month as a PhD student. Remember that I'm rooting for you, and I'll see you over there.